All right, Federal Register Document Drafting Handbook, Chapter 4, How do I correct my document? 4.1, correcting the document before publication, correcting the document before submission, correcting the document after submission, before publication, withdrawing the document from publication, correcting the document after publication, Office of Federal Register with the correction of the published document, agency with the correction with the published document, the correction with the rule of the correction, proposal of the rule correction of the notes. 4.1. Correcting the document before submission. Correcting the document before publication. Correcting the document before submission. If you find the error before you submit the document to the Office of Federal Register, you and your agency Federal Register liaison officer may make the legible ink of the chain of the document, the initial with the date with the right hand margin may be changed. 4.2. For the correcting the document after the submission, but before the publication, find the substantive error with the document that you have submitted that you have not yet with the published immediately contact with the agency, the Federal liaison officer. Before filing, if you have not filled out the document, public inspection and liaison after made simple correction by telephoning the office, by telephoning Office of Federal Register by submitting the corrected page for the corrected the verification certification letter. After filing, if you have filed the document, public inspection and liaison officer may correct with only with the submitting letter detailing the chain with the appendix A with the model letter, but the official authority of the Federal Register documentation liaison officer must sign with the letter that must reach the Office of Federal Regulation before 12 noon, the workday before the document scheduled for the publication date. Liaison must also telephone and even the possible confirm the letter has been sent with the receipt of the letter with the money time stamp with the place in the public inspection with the document correct with the document letter remain with the inspection until the end of the day with the corrected document appear with the Federal Register. Office of the Federal Register maintains both of the original document letter correction. Extensive change with the difficult to make with the final production save. If you need to make extensive changes, you may withdraw the document from publication. The 4.3 withdrawal of the document from publication. If you necessary for the complete withdrawal of the document information for the public, if you wanted to play with the document with a public inspection, we will return it. If you have also play with the document with a public inspection, we will withdraw with the public if the document remains only on file on the original scheduled publication date. We cannot return it to you. Before filing, if you do not file with the document with the public inspection, your liaison office may telephone Office of the Federal Register during Wheeler office at 8:45 a.m. to 5:15 p.m. with the request for the withdrawal of the document of the publication. Liaison officer must file with the being later request for the withdrawing with the telling of us how to return the document as either pending save with the amount 11. The official with the authority of the Federal Register document with the liaison officer must sign with the letter that we will withdraw the document until we will not withdraw the document until we receive your letter. After filing the file of the document with the public inspection liaison officer may withdraw the publication, submitting a letter request for the withdrawal of the pending A model letter with the Office of the Authority of the Federal Register document with the liaison officer must sign with the letter with the liaison officer must also give the telephone and spot to confirm the letter has been sent. The letter must reach the OFR during the regular office hours of 8:45 a.m. to 5:15 p.m. before the noon, but the workday before the document scheduled publication date will not withdraw the document until we receive your letter. When you receive the letter, we timestamp the place on public inspection with the document. The withdrawal of the document letter will remain with the inspection until the end of the day with the document originally scheduled for the public office of the original document letter withdrawal. If you decide to publish the document later day, that you may submit the new document publication the original certified copy of the duplicate originals. Or correcting a document after publication. OFR correction of the published document. Assume that the possible after the publication, proof of the published document again for the copy of the document. If you find a significant printing error, the liaison officer must call for the range for the correction from the prepare with the published correction from the conform with the original date with the unique for the correction for the format of the place for the correction with the separate section of the Federal Register the produce the confusion. You do not use the OFR format to prepare with your agency correction. 4.5 of the agency correction to publish the document. They assume that the published correction possible after the publication, proof of the published document against for the any of the document that you submitted. If you find the original document, you must save the time of the document correctly in the error of the format and appropriate section of the Federal Register with the original document appear. Do not use the OFR format to prepare your agency corrections. 4.6. Correction of the rule. The non-substantive of the error of the discovery of the object of the misspelling of the non-substantive of the error of the CFR typically with the rule document. The liaison officer should contact with the Code Federal Regulation with some time to make the correction in the edition CFR without requiring the Federal Register for the correction. Substantive error. You must publish the document in the Federal Register correct with the substantive error with the original document of the document correct with the previously published rule. With repeat the agency head with the document with correctly care with the CFR heading only with the CFR effect with the creation of the list of the CFR with the preamble correction. Correct. Repeat the subject heading with the document being corrected with the semicolon with the word correction and at the end of the following preamble. The requirements of the rule effective the day with the rule correction not be earlier with the effective day with the rule correcting. Serve with the Federal Register date with the page with the column with the CFR section paragraph line with the same with the correcting instruction. Present with the correction entire section with the large U with the CFR take for the amendment U with the mandatory term with the correct with the style of the section and U with the asterisk section with the 213 mandatory language with the 214 asterisk for the on over this handbook. There are two different formats for the correcting regulatory text of the rule document. Both require signed down with the document. Both the format U with the dependent with the revision date with the CFR volume the effect with the curve with the original document was published. If the revision date of the CFR volume does not occur since the original rule was published, view the format correction of the Federal Register. Correction for the Federal Register, environmental protection. The CFR part of the option, technical amendment of the TSA regulation to draft the correction, agency action summary dates, further information, supplementary information code date, and sign type of the name and the title. If the revision date of the CFR volume has occurred since the original rule was published, view the format correcting amendment to CFR, sometimes called technical amendments. Correcting amendment to CFR, they give the Department of the Internal Revenue titles in the CFR, the RIN information, the billing code, the agency action summary date, further information, supplementary background, need for correction, list of subjects, parts, and signed dates and dated and signed and type of the name and the date. Alright, 4-7, the correction of the proposed rule. Document correct with the previously with the proposed rule. 3, people of the agency have with the document being correct with the care with the CFR having only with the CFR approval with the effect with the correction lists all the CFR approval with the preamble the correct with the repeat with the subject have with the document being correctly filed with the semicolon with the word with the correction filed with the preamble the requirement with the proposed rule. Step the Federal Register date with the page with the column with the CFR section paragraph the line with the section and correction instruction and present with the correction entire sent with the large unit with the CFR text with this amendment with the U with the mandatory with the correct the job with the section head with the asterisk see the section 113 and mandatory language 114 asterisk of this handbook. Alright, proposed rule correction, Department of Bureau of Indians, title RIN, travel rule allocation plan with the agency action summary, further information correction, dated time, type, and name and the title. 4.8, correction of the notice. The correction notice document. The repeating agency, the subject heading of the document being correct with the semicolon with the word correction and with the subject heading with the Federal Register for the date with the page for the column locating paragraph sentence with the line with the correction installation notice. The correction postal service of the agency action summary, further information correction, dated time, and type name, type name and title. Chapter 5. Can I submit a computer file?